The startup industry is usually the youngest and the fastest to react to such changes, and it comes out with the latest cutting edge technology. So I'd like to know, how has the startup industry reacted to this disruption, and what have been the major trends in the health tech startups, and also mainly what can we look forward to in the years to come?
Yeah, no, first of all, thanks for that question, Sunil. I think it's a pleasure, to be among such luminaries and having a chat on this important topic with all of you. So, like Deveti ji, I'm also an eternal optimist. I try to find the positives in every situation. And while COVID unfortunately played havoc, there are a few things that came out of it which make us even more stronger. So, for me, when I look at, the last year and a half, Sunil or more, there were three or four fundamental shifts that have taken place. And especially when you're looking at, tech startups and this new age companies trying to innovate, I think the first and most important thing was on the patient side, as well as, of course, the provider side, but largely to do with the patient side, where, we found three big shifts. One was the overall adoption. I mean, given the fact that, people weren't able to go to the doctors. People had to manage remote monitor their conditions at home. What was earlier difficult in terms of breaking that barrier of trust on digital solutions became much easier. From the patient adoption side. So that was one fundamental shift. The second, a part of that was also that earlier digital solutions had a problem in terms of एक बार पेशेंट आ गया बट उसके बाद engagement used to fall next to nil. What we found, and this is a sustaining fact, that people continue to engage with digital platforms more than so the retention has increased in terms of the time that they're spending, understanding about their health on various different platforms is a lot higher than what it was before. And the third critical thing that happened, in my view, was the fact that this also provided time for digital solutions to be able to demonstrate that they could make an impact on health outcomes, right? So even providers like us or many other solutions in different therapeutic areas, we were actually able to demonstrate that, digital solutions, when complemented with, of course, a more of a physical approach, but let's say more reliance now having to come on in terms of digital solutions, the health impact could be driven through health digital solutions as well, which added or contributed to this fact of loyalty by patients becoming more in digital solutions, and therefore driving higher adoption as well as engagement. So this virtuous cycle, or it provided us this time to be able to create a virtuous cycle of trust, both from a patient side as well as Mr. Devedi was talking about, from the provider or doctor side. More reliance on digital platforms has started to come. So that's one fundamental shift we've seen from patient adoption, engagement, and provision of health outcomes in their lives. The second thing which has happened is, of course, the regulatory framework has become more relaxed. So, before COVID, there was always a debate on teleconsultation, online pharmacies, etc., etc. But I think during this phase, we really realized that we can't just have dependence on physical models. We do need to have more robust regulatory frameworks around digital health solutions, so that they can also come into the mainstream. So they're no longer ancillary. The need has become imminent for them to become mainstream. So that is second. I think the push from the government, the NDHM and so many other initiatives that the government is taking up, coming out with, helped us to be able to formalize what otherwise was, keeping digital solutions away from the mainstream healthcare industry. The third thing for us was all this also had a positive impact, Sunil, in terms of attracting institutional capital into the health tech space. And now, if you look at health tech as well as insurtech, which are dependent on health improvements, you see a flood of capital flowing in, which allows entrepreneurs or young age innovators to be able to take that leap of faith, knowing that there is a market which is evolving, but also there is infrastructure support for me to be able to try out new things and raise a lot more capital, whether this is at seed stage or even at a more mature growth stage. So I think it's a culmination of these three factors that allowed the overall impetus into digital solutions, which was coming, but the pace of it just got accelerated over the last year and a half potentially because of COVID. And what is encouraging for us is that, a lot of that is still intact. So even now when the markets are open, people are out there. Hopefully, I read in the papers today that people are, top doctors are saying that, maybe the third wave we will be able to escape it in some way. But I think that trend, while it may not be at its peak the way it was during the thick of COVID, it is still there and will continue to sustain, in my view, which is really important for breeding more innovation, beyond just what happened during the phase of COVID, because that's the only way we'll get to reach to 95% of India that lives beyond the top tier cities of Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, etc., where bulk of the impact has to be created through digital health solutions, combined, of course, with the great work that, Dwivedi ji and a host of other people are doing.
So, which is the one technology that the government of India should promote to transform our healthcare system, and how? Because, everybody's doing their jobs. Hospitals have been working 24 hours, doctors, nurses, startups have been coming out of the solutions. We usually say, the government should do this, that. So from your point of view, what is that one thing that the government should do and promote in our healthcare system?
I think the biggest role the government has to play is to be able to increase significantly the expense that is dedicated towards healthcare. I think there was a good step made in the last budget. But it's still awaited to see how the execution of that expense is going to get implemented. And I mean, when you compare it to any other country, I think it's abysmal what the expenditure on healthcare is made. And to the point that Dwivedi ji and Dheeraj also made, I think for me, by COVID, I mean, fortunately, not as significant an impact in some of the other countries, but the floodgates, unfortunately, were open because, the primary healthcare in our country is not equipped necessarily as much as it should be. So, when the second lockdown happened, I was part of this movement called Mission Oxygen. And it was heartrending to see that, basic infrastructure was completely lacking in smaller cities. I'm not even talking of remote India. These are smaller cities in our country. I think they have, before this, of course, technology will have to be a part of this. Telemedicine will have to be part of it, remote monitoring and everything else. But the government needs to do big things, and we are there to support them in terms of the endeavors and initiatives we all are taking to be able to accomplish that goal of making healthcare more inclusive. But for that, a lot more expense has to be dedicated towards healthcare. And I would think primary healthcare needs to become a core focus for the government to sort out in our country. Otherwise, COVID or similar things are not far away again.
We need an integration and unification in this industry. Like Aadhaar was a unification of the identification process that streamlined everything. The RBI is planning an account aggregator network by which all, lending and borrowing will be centralized. But, that is one thing which has been seriously lacking in this industry for many reasons, because, medical records are in various forms. They are in MRIs, X-rays, paper, and, even it's a very sensitive issue. Who owns the record? Does hospital own it? Does the patient own it? But still, it would help if we had a centralized, health system. So I just want to know how that is possible, and like from your respective point of views.
Sunil, for me, I come from the airline world, and there is this Amadeus and the global distribution system where you can plug in all data and relay it. Unfortunately, nothing like that existed in the healthcare industry, especially in India, because of the incentives of individual players. Private healthcare not really aligned. But I think the government is making the right steps, taking the right steps. I completely agree with both Mr. Dwivedi and Dheeraj that this interoperability of data is going to be complete. It's going to be the backbone. I'll take the use case of, for example, what we do. And just before the session started, Dwivedi ji and I were talking about it as well. That let's say for a person with who's diabetic and they're using Beto to be able to manage this condition, the evolution of the disease getting poured back into the healthcare provider system. Let's say in Mr. Dwivedi's case. If a patient is on chemo, and people have a tendency to have elevated sugar levels. If a provider like Beto could actually provide the data on the evolution of this condition of sugar levels to Dwivedi ji for carrying out the right intervention at their side, then the best of both worlds can come together. Because today we are looking at the patient in isolation. He's looking at, or his entity is looking, organization is looking at the patient in isolation. Dheeraj is carrying out diagnostics, but there's no, like Dwivedi said, there's no one language that we are all talking at this point in time, and that will give us a tremendous fillip to all these four things that we spoke about in adoption, in engaging the patient more, so that adherence is a key element of any healthcare therapy, but it is compromised today. And finally, either prediction of future conditions, or otherwise improving the outcomes of existing conditions that a person has, will be successfully done.
I'd like to hear your views on, what is the one big health tech idea is that's going to transform Indian healthcare? Since the theme is transformation, just pick one technology or maybe one big idea that is going to transform Indian healthcare in the 2020s.
So Sunil, I'm biased. It is going to be Vito.
So maybe you can elaborate on that. What exactly?
So I think, for me, when I look at it, and this is Vito is of course born from a personal pain point. We've seen diabetes and its complications at close quarters personally. But when I start, and we've been to homes of patients who unfortunately suffer from complications arising out of this condition. The fact that we are having late diagnosis, not only in diabetes, but late diagnosis for most chronic conditions, where we're missing these, windows of either reversal or being able to avoid these complications, is the root cause of where we find ourselves, in terms of, when COVID happens, people unfortunately passing away, not because of COVID, but, comorbidities. So technologies and solutions that allow us to be able to reach the masses, first of all. So it has to be extremely affordable technology. It cannot be something that is, for 1 or 2% of India, because they have access to care anyway. So it has to be extremely cost-effective technology that can get into every household practically, and is able to predict and intervene in real time to give the right information to the individual in terms of the course correction they need, either this be through their prescription or lifestyle adaptation or what have you. But everything needs to be done before then it's getting done today in India, which I believe is the root cause of where we find ourselves. So technology that is cost-effective, getting into as many households, is able to predict, focus for me, of course, on NCDs, because those are going to be the everlasting epidemics, should be the winner for India. I think the core of the problem, and you compare us to the West, the whole outpatient care in India is out of pocket. People pay for it. So nobody is at the healthcare system at the core of it. And, Dwivediji's idea of care before repair is perfect. But unfortunately, our healthcare system is not incentivized to take care of people before they need repair. Unfortunately, most of the monetization actually happens when a person is at the hospital. So that has to be altered. And like we said, the government has to play a significant role in ensuring that, this outpatient care somehow can get paid, not by the individual, but by the system somehow. And the healthcare system is incentivized to take care of people, to take Dwivediji's words, and not necessarily just repair people.
So, one theme that is coming out is of prevention. And as you said, care, not repair. So I just want to know, like, how prepared are we in the future? Like, when the Spanish flu came, obviously there was no technology. They were totally caught unawares and they couldn't change much. Again, but it is so sad to say we are so technologically advanced and we don't have a shortage of money, but still we were caught unawares. So I'm just wondering, and already this coronavirus, it used to be a cold, then you had SARS, then you had MERS. So it is mutating fast. So I'm just wondering, are we ready for the next pandemic, or will we be caught unawares? And if so, what are the technologies that we can develop to actually, prevent such a pandemic? Because see, if a pandemic is coming, we'll not be able to stop it, but we can definitely check its arrest.
I think we need to keep looking at positives, to keep encouraging us and motivating us to, building on the successes. This was no small feat that the world accomplished together, whether it was coming up with the test, vaccines. Look at so many people who've gone through COVID after the vaccines, and there has been practically no symptom. And all of this has been achieved in the last year and a half, right? So I think technologies will continue to evolve to be able to better predict such circumstances, so that, early detection and early prevention procedures and protocols can be rolled out. I think we're much smarter I would look at it from in the rear view mirror. I think we're all a lot smarter about how to be able to tackle such situations if they were to arise. We're also much smarter going forward to be able to predict such circumstances from not arising, or if they arise, then averting the complications that come with it. Of course, it will have to be also, the onus is on the individual as well to be able to, prevent such things to, really scale up the way they did. I mean, you still see people, at least in Delhi, completely taken off their masks and moving around. So I think the basic hygiene protocols will continue to be, the onus has to be on us. And again, all of this boils down to the immune system and lifestyle that all of us will lead. So all the technologies that are coming in, the innovations are coming in to make people healthier, stronger, better, will negate some of this impact that might come in the future as well. So yeah, I think we're all much better prepared and smarter than before.